hello everybody out there. My name is James Dalton. I am from a little place called New Jersey, and I am destined to be flying over to England in a matter of weeks, actually, to do some shows for a couple days.
How mad must you be to do that?
Oh, come on, it can't be that bad over there. No,
No, it is, but we've got a bit like the States. We don't do political stuff a lot of time. A bit like the States, we've got our own trials and tribulations going on right now, which is. But the country is beautiful, mate, and you'll get a good reception wherever you go. Because my lad's just done the Three Peaks, which you probably won't be aware about, but it's the three mountains in Scotland, Lake District, and Wales.
Right.
They're not enormous, but they're our mountains, and the aim is to do it in 24 hours. But
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of this.
and I was driving, and he did the three peaks. We did it in 20 hours and 10 minutes. Sub 20s classed as being. I don't know. I don't know. I did so anyway. So. Why I mentioned that is wherever you're travelling round, if like in Scotland, it's absolutely stunning. Wales is beautiful. The lakes. Whereabouts you touring?
Well, this is going to be a short trip, but it's going to be I got a lot of ground to cover. I'm doing a couple days in England. I'm playing in London, and I'm playing down in Brighton.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I'm flying over to Ireland, and I'm playing a gig in Dublin.
Nice.
And then hopping the train up to Belfast and playing up there. So it's just a quick week-long run of shows. It's been a while since I've gotten to do some of these places. I've been everywhere that I'm going to. I was in Brighton a couple years ago.
Right.
I haven't played London for a while. It's been since like 2007 since I've been in Ireland or Northern Ireland. That's a long time ago, man. So it's just revisiting some places. I plan hopefully next year to do a longer tour and do a lot more dates, do like maybe 10 dates up and down all over the place. And then this August I'm planning on being in Edinburgh for the Fringe. So
nice.
Just a little sampler. Yeah.
Nice. You're playing at the Fringe then, because obviously there's the comedy stuff and all the rest of it going on, music going on.
Yeah.
I've never been to it, but it's pretty wild, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's a lot of activity.
There's more activity than you can ever manage to do. The way that festival is set up. I first went. I'm an old man. I don't know about you, Kirk, but I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
I first went to Edinburgh in '97, and I was visiting a girlfriend of mine was in a show there, and so I flew over to hang out and catch the show and see the city. And lucky for me, within an hour of me arriving, she broke up with me. So that was. It worked out well for the old man. And then, so I had like 4 or 5 days of just like trying to get her back, but seeing a lot of shows and eating a lot of haggis and, and drinking a lot of iron brew. And I was punishing myself. It was funny. Whatever I did to get broken up with, I had to drink iron brew to make up for it. It's good. So that was, and I got to do the following year. I went back in '98 and I did a musical called Hair that I was the lead of, and we did the festival. And I visited again in 2003, I did some singer-songwriter shows, and then 2007, I brought a solo one-person storytelling song show and that was the last time I was over there. Was that so
cool? So
there you go. That's my Fridge.
Excellent. So on this tour you're doing now, you doing? I know you're playing with one of the artists we interviewed the other week, aren't you? Are you doing it all on your own? Your tour, or are you with other people? What's
these particular shows? I am playing. I'm playing with. I'm opening up for Sam in London, which is going to be really exciting. And then I'm playing just my own solo set for that show.
Okay.
He's invited me to sit in on a song or two during his set. So there's that. And then Brighton, when I head down, I'm returning to. I did the Brighton Fringe actually in 2022, and I've got some people down there that I'm friendly with. So I'm going to go to a place called Yellow Book Bar in Brighton. I'm gonna do it's gonna be a mix between an acoustic concert and a pub set. It's gonna be a pretty free for all kind of place.
Nice, intimate.
Yellow Book Bar has got like a theater space in it upstairs, and I don't think I'm playing in the theater space. I think I'm playing in the downstairs bar. So it'll be a lot of characters and coots.
Yeah, and get us a drink. Get us a drink. Get us a drink. Yeah.
bunch of actors with the day off. Coming to catch the gig. And then, when I go to Dublin, I'm playing a special show at Patriot Inn with a gentleman named Keith Burke.
Right.
Keith Burke is an Irish guy who was a great singer-songwriter and performer. He and I met back in 2002. I started going over to Ireland in 2002 on a regular basis, and I played a show with him. And we've stayed connected all these years. We played a couple times together since then, and he is hosting a special show where once a month, him and his band will learn two singer-songwriters like sets. Like they're going to learn 4 of my songs, 4 of someone else's. And the show they're doing is that band backing me up for like a handful of songs and another artist as well. And we don't get to really rehearse. I'm landing and showing up, and they're going to have all the arrangements ready to go. And it's going to be a really exciting, interesting thing, I think.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I like things like that because it's as. Do you know what I mean? I like doing live.
Yeah.
I do like doing live interviews and things like that. I think it's has a different dynamic than when you record something, or because you can stop and pause and all. I think there's a bit of a thrill with it. So if they've not actually rehearsed with you for you to turn up and play with them, that'll be magical for you if they nail it as well, won't it? You'll be like, oh wow, yeah, that's.
Well, I've learned over the years not to send the hard songs. I learned that one. Like if I'm going to do something like this, I have to send the stuff that's easy to learn and don't make it too complicated because it makes it easier if everyone can learn the music simply, then we can put more into it on stage. Instead of stressing over whether we're going to get it right. And there you go.
Exactly, because I've got your picture from that we did for the promo. You've got a serious beard going on there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. You see this? It's completely off size, is what it is. It's a little much. Even I think it's a little much nowadays. I mean, I haven't trimmed it in December it will be 6 years. This beard, 6 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
I could never grow. Well, I can't grow one anyway. I just get a bit here and a bit there. But after a few weeks, I'm like, oh, no, I can't be doing it. Can't be doing a beard at all. And as you can see, I'm thinning out. So I've gone to my lad cut me hair at the weekend and he went a bit too short with it. So there you go. Otherwise, I've got bald patches everywhere. It's not good, is it?
I also have this huge patch of hair on my head as well. It's like it goes down to the small of my back at least.
Wow.
I have it up in a bun most of the time. But well, I'm just a hairy guy. That's all I can say.
So whereabouts? You did say, I think at the start. Whereabouts are you based? Where do you live?
I'm from New Jersey, and
that's right.
Where I am in New Jersey is honestly it's about I'm about 20 minutes away from Asbury Park, which people know from our my colleague Bruce Springsteen. He's I'm part of that music scene, if you know what I'm saying. Asbury Park has got great music venues. It's got a lot of history, and that's kind of my scene. That's where I'm at. If you know anything about that guy or those places.
Oh yeah. Oh, we all know. Back in the day when we had tapes, I did have a Bruce Springsteen tape in my car.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I like Springsteen.
Which tape was it? Can I ask? Do you remember?
Oh man, you're talking a long time. I've no idea, but I do like Bruce Springsteen. I do like Springsteen. Yeah. I've got some of his stuff.
He's something else.
Yeah, it's good. It's good music, and it goes through the test of time as well. When you've got some of the classic artists, they can still play. You can still put the music on now and go. Yeah. I mean, my lad's 23, and I've been sending him some stuff from the 70s and what have you, and he's gone, oh, I really like this, Dad, really like this. So he put something on the other day, and a couple of my tracks came on, and I was like, yeah, that is fantastic. Life's been good to me so far, all that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, yeah, I love this. So you won, well, obviously, because he sent me something through. You won, what did you win? Garden State Film Festival.
So that's an interesting... what that was is I won. It's funny. It was a songwriting prize, right? And I'm trying to get to it here. Let me get to it. It was the Garden State. It was. So I'm a songwriter, as you know.
Yep.
And what happened was, I won this thing. It was okay. So basically, it was the Garden State Film Festival, just like you're asking about. And what I won was before I say anything else about it, I just want to say that I think they put me in the wrong category of style because they gave me an award for best country pop song. And the song that they gave me the best country pop song for is neither pop nor country. It's neither of those things. It's more of like a folk song kind of thing, or like a I don't know, like a folk ballad maybe.
Yeah.
But the prize was really special because the Garden State Film Festival, New Jersey is known as the Garden State. That's the nickname.
Right.
If you can believe it, if you
Yep.
listen to Springsteen's lyrics, it doesn't sound like a garden at all. It's a lunar landscape according to him. But the Garden State Film Festival, this particular year, it's been going on for a long time. It's been over 20 years. This festival has been happening, and this year was the first year they decided to include music as some of the categories that they would win prizes from. And so, I think part of the reason for that is they realized that New Jersey has this very rich musical history, and we have a ton of musicians. Like there's so many people. I'm not going to get into the list of other people besides John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen, and Sinatra and Whitney Houston and Parliament Funkadelic, and I could go on and on all day.
Just a few,
just a few minor artists, that all changed the world somehow. But because of there's so many players down at the beach area in Asbury Park, the film festival decided they would really dig into that, and they gave out prizes for scoring and for different things. And the funny thing about this prize is that the film that my song was in was submitted to the festival, and my song was submitted separately. But the film didn't make it in. My song did.
Oh.
And I felt bad because the guy that made the film, he's one of my close friends, and I was like, look, he kind of called me. He's like, look, your song made it, but not my movie. I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. Just consider it your movie still made it in. We're gonna tell everybody. We're gonna act like your film is in, and we did. But the movie itself was made. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that it was a great thing to start the year with. I was awarded this in like January or February, and the festival itself, the award ceremony, happened in March, April.
Yeah.
So it was like a really great beginning to the year for me.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. I wrote on it for a while, and they gave me a prize, but they didn't give me any money, which I really would have preferred.
I know. Artists, we'll give you a nice prize and we'll give you that. No, give us some cash. We need cash.
I'll sell the prize and I'll take the cash. Thank you.
We need the cash. Yeah. We've got to go back in the recording studio. How much it costs? So, yeah, John.
If you give me the money that you would have spent on the trophy, I'll just get a cheaper trophy. How's that? No,
yeah, exactly. Give me a badge. Just give me a badge. Yeah. Give me a bumper sticker.
They gave me what they did is they gave me one of the sponsors. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. What they did do is they gave all the prize winners were given software that was valid for the year for things like recording and scoring,
right.
like scoring, like writing tablature and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was not necessarily for me. I don't really write that kind of way, but like a composer would. But it was a nice gesture, and I really appreciated the whole thing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I get. We know you're not being ungrateful.
Yeah.
But
it was cool. It was cool.
But that's brilliant, that, isn't it? But you mean, like you say, your friends never got in, and sometimes in life that happens, doesn't it? Do you know?
I know.
It's not the same thing, but I remember years ago it was we were both working in I was a butcher by trade, and we was both working in a butcher's shop, and his friend come in and said, "There's some jobs going at our place. You need to apply." And he went, "Do you want you applying as well, Kirk?" I went, "Yeah, we might as well give it a go." I got the job, and he never. So you can imagine that, can't you? And then he ended up he was my manager at the time. Then he ended up working for me at this place because he eventually got a job there, and he ended up. So it happens in life, in all sorts of things, doesn't it? Wonderful.
You don't know who gets chosen for what or why. You never know.
No, there's always a reason, isn't it? But like you say, you've still been part of it, because then you can go and talk about the movie, and you can and you can celebrate it that way. So do you do a lot of touring then? Do you go around Europe and all that, or just mainly come to the UK if you're doing stuff?
Well, I used to tour a lot, and then I became a parent, and now that my son's getting older, I've been reinstituting the touring a lot more. I've been bringing it back in. So over the last couple of years, I've been able to pop out of the country a week here, week there, a couple times a year. And I mean, in the past year, in last April, I did Spain, France, and Italy
Nice.
for a quick thing. The year before, the September before that, I was in Sweden. The June before that, I was in Iceland. The year before that, I was in Iceland. The year before that, I was in England, and so it's and then the year before that again, it was here and there. It was a bunch of different places. Over the last couple of years, I've gotten to visit, like I said, Sweden, Iceland a couple times, the UK a couple times, and now here I am coming back, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I always want to go around and travel all the time, but there's also this big America that I live in too,
I
and
know.
so I got to try to visit that thing as well.
You have. I mean, the trouble with a lot of the time when you're either working or you're performing in a place, it's like city, get on the tour bus or drive or whatever, play
Mhm.
next place. You don't see anything. Do you manage to see any of the places where you go? Do you manage to?
This is a good question. I've learned over the years that because I tour mostly on my own. I travel solo. I don't have to pay anybody if it's just me.
Yeah.
And it's a lot it's a lot
Well,
easier.
you can go at your own pace and do your own thing, can't you? Rather than worrying about
Yeah,
what anyone else wants to eat, when they want to sleep, when they want to
yeah,
go. Yeah.
exactly. All that stuff is up to me. Well, what I've found over the years, because not only do I travel for music a lot, but I travel for a few other jobs that I do, and I try to instill this in younger musicians that are on the road now, because I mean I've been on the road on and off for years. I try to instill this idea that they have to find a little bit of life on the road,
Mm.
and usually that starts with the gateway to like taking a walk in a park on the way to the state that you're going to play in the city. The gateway to that is finding places to eat. A trick. The beginning
Yeah.
of adventuring as a musician and finding life out there is going to places and finding special dishes somewhere. Like if you're in St. Louis somewhere and you're like, what am I doing in St. Louis, guys? Where am I eating? And then some other musicians are like, you got to go to such and such. Or if you're in England or in the UK as a whole and you have to eat somewhere, you have to go to Greg's. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, you do. It's
you know, it's
it's
you
a,
got to do that. You know
you,
what I'm saying? And I realize I'm like, God, I can't wait to land. I don't know why there's not a Greg's in the Heathrow airport.
they
I mean,
might be. They might be now. They're everywhere. They've started putting them in service stations.
they better because I'm gonna write a letter to someone if there isn't one
They're
when I
in
land.
service stations now because I took my lad up to Scotland at the weekend and there was a Greg's. We went for a coffee, but in Scotland they have Scotch pie, so I got a Scotch pie, one each, and he went, "What's this?" I went, "It's a Scotch pie." He said, "Never had one of these." I went, "There you go then, a
It
bit of
is.
Scottish culture from Greg's."
So here's for years I used to work in Scandinavia as a essentially I was a bar singer, but I was a troubadour. That's what they called it. And I was working on these ferry cruises, these Baltic ferries, which is another story.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an insane thing with a bar and a singer, and I was the singer. So between that and a lot of other things, I discovered there was a point in my life where I was in Heathrow Airport all the time because I was using it as my switch point. I would transfer there all the time. And I discovered, I don't know when it was, in the 90s, well, maybe it was the 90s or the 2000s. I discovered what would be my favorite restaurant for years, which was the Oyster Bar in Heathrow. You
Oh,
know what I'm talking about?
yeah. I've got a
You know the
story
place I'm
about
talking
that,
about?
but go on.
Well, I'm sure your story's going to turn me off. But the idea
No,
of
it's
it
a good
was
story.
that I was a young guy running around with a guitar and a rucksack on my back, and I was touring I was playing for Grateful Dead music in Germany. I was playing troubadour pub songs in Sweden and Finland. I was playing Irish bars in this place and that place, and I was doing all these concerts, and I was banging around all over the world. I was in Scotland, and I was playing the Baltics, and I was playing in Eastern Europe and Poland and Czech, and I was just some scruffy Jersey guy with a guitar, and I would like land in Heathrow, and I'd have a couple hours, and for years, in order to make sure that I had some happiness and some life on the road, I told myself, all right, well, I'm going to always give myself an extra hour in Heathrow so I can roll into that that bar in the middle of the highway,
Yeah.
in the middle of the hallway,
Yeah.
lean my hard guitar case against the bar there, sit down and order up something I couldn't afford,
Correct.
and just and eat, and the characters that would sit around with me there.
Yeah.
For me, I would be reading Monocle magazine, like it's like some dude eating freaking raw bar stuff. I could barely afford to eat it, but it was like there was something joyous and happy about that for me, that I just felt I felt very happy.
I like that, and you're right. I think there's you look at some. I'll tell you the story about the oyster bar in a minute. You often see some very successful artists, and they've travelled all the world. They've done multiple world tours, and they go, "Well, what did you like about Italy, or what do you like?" I don't know. Just got off the top, and you think, how sad is that you've a lot of time they're forced to go from the next thing to the next thing. If you can just build something into it, then it makes a lot of sense. The oyster bar, I'm chuckling because I used to work for Cemex, which is a Mexican company. They bought our company I work for, and I was on a 12-month management program. We went to Stanford, we went Tech to Monterey. Anyway, cut a long story short, as it gets closer to the time, I'd asked the PA which flight I could book, thinking that because it's long haul, I could book business class. No, you've got to fly like normal class. So I booked normal class. So as it gets closer to it, I said to the lads, they said, "How much you pay for your flight, Kirk?" I was like, "Oh, it's 400 quid." And they went, "Oh, 400 quid? How have you paid that?" I said, "Well, have you paid? They paid like 2,500 for this ticket. And this is like 2005. And I was like, So they'd all gone business class. So I was really miffed. So when we got to the airport, they tried to get me in the lounge. They couldn't get me in the lounge. So I just turned round and went to the oyster champagne bar and just sat there and drank champagne. I don't know how much it cost, but my boss paid for it. And then the flight was delayed an hour, and I was talking to myself in my head. Now, don't stumble. What I was absolutely smashed. So that's my story about about the oyster bar. And do you know what I mean?
I love it.
So that was me. I was a bit of a rebel back then. I did crazy things like that. But yeah, it's good that you do that, even if you can't afford it sometimes. Because once that point's gone, it's gone, isn't it? But you can still remember that thing. You still feel like you've done something for you. Do you know what I mean?
I always, like, whenever I travel anywhere, I always make sure there's a place where I get to walk and take pictures, and I try to work in a lot of things. Very recently, I became, I don't want to say I became, but very recently, I submitted photos because I take pictures everywhere I go, like a lot of us do.
Yeah.
A friend of mine has a magazine called Soup Can Magazine. It's a culture and arts magazine, and it's very great. It's a very idealistic magazine. And I said, "Hey, listen, can I give you some photos sometime?" I always walk when I'm touring, and I always go in the evening in the towns that I'm in, and I always find specific things that I like, and there's lighting and there's textures and And he goes, "Yeah, send it to me." So he published these things, and I decided, I was like, I'm gonna actually put them in some frames. So a cafe actually has a bunch of my photos on the wall for sale, which is the first time. So nowadays, if I can't, like, if I'm going somewhere, like I'll be in Brighton, even if it is going to be November or cold, I'm going to have a bathing suit with me, and I'm either jumping in the sea or I'm taking pictures of something, And that's what I'm doing right. When I get to London, I don't think I'm going to swim in the Thames. I can't do that. But I'll walk around Camden snapping shots at night.
Oh yeah, Camden's great, and it's unusual. It's a great place. I went there a few years ago, and I thought, I like the feel of this. And it's a bit. Where's the other place I've been to around in Shoreditch? You won't be around Shoreditch, but there's a place there, and it's all where all the little street food vendors are and things like that. It's got all that scene rocking and just walk around. It's got a lovely feel to it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's nice. It's a really nice thing to do. But you're right about going and finding places for food, because it's quite important, isn't it? Because a lot of places are homogenised now, aren't they? So if you go anywhere in most places in the UK, you find the same food places that are not independent.
Yeah.
Same in the States, but it's nice to go to different countries and different places and go, "Oh right, what's this?" Even different regions of France and Italy, they'll have different ways of making certain national dishes, won't they? And there's something about food and music, I think, transcends culture and brings people together.
Well, like I said, I have other jobs that involves me traveling. And a couple weeks ago, one of my jobs, was me driving a car from New Jersey, a car and a dog, a car from New Jersey down to Florida, which is about 16, 17 hours worth of driving. Okay. Now, I don't know how much you know about the American South, but once you get out of New Jersey and you get south of New Jersey and Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. and Baltimore and Richmond, Virginia. And after that, it's I don't want to say the redneck South, but you're getting into the South.
Well, we get it. We get it.
You get it. So once you get from south of Richmond, Virginia, all the way down to northern Florida is a southern thing. It's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, northern Florida. And obviously you can get soul food anywhere in America. What I would call soul food. I don't know if you know what I say when I say soul food.
I do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very Southern African American, So I can get it in New Jersey, but I can't really get it in New Jersey. I can't really get it in New York. But when you get south of Richmond, Virginia, and you get into Petersburg, and you get to some of these other little towns out there, what I do on this long drive is I find the craziest, gnarliest soul food place that has the worst sounding dishes, and that's where I eat. So just a couple weeks ago, I went from dinner was pig's feet,
nice,
which was lovely, intense. Breakfast was a liver pie breakfast sandwich, which was intense. That lunch that day was neck bones, and I don't know what I had for dinner. It doesn't really matter. But the idea is all those meals were just like cooked by little old ladies from the South. I went to all the kitchens somehow, and they had crazy named places. And I was probably the only scruffy white guy walking in the joint for weeks. It was just me. And it was like, it brought me so much joy and peace. Obviously I got to do something when you're on the road. You can't just drive all day, but
you've got to. It's like when they do the big pots, don't they, and put all the crayfish in and all the spices and all that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And they just put just a table with a plastic on, and just pour it on the table, don't they, and just get stuck in. Yeah. Fantastic.
That's a crawfish boil. That's what that is.
Crawfish. That's it. I've only been to. I've not been, like you say about the States, and we should, this is the good thing about the interviews. We get to know about the person. We need to talk a bit about more about your music, but. I've only scratched the surface of the States. I've done California a couple of times. I've been to New York, and that's really about it. But then the diversity of the States is phenomenal, isn't it? I want to go to Texas. That's one place I really want to go.
Yeah,
I've got to do that at some point.
If you're into the thing that I've learned years ago, and then we'll move on to music again. What I learned years ago, I was one of these guys in the '90s and the 2000s. That resented other Americans that did not have passports. And I did that foolishly. Because in my mind, I'm like, we should be travelers and adventurers, and we should all have a passport because blah, blah, blah. But then at some point, a girl that I was dating, a European girl, she was from the Czech Republic, she was in America, and she was obsessed with the idea of seeing all of the geographic things we had in America.
Yeah.
That I knew, but I took for granted. I knew that we had special gems for of topography and geography. But it was one of those things that I said, well, I'll see all that when I get old, because that's what old people do. They drive around in campers, and they camp at campsites, and they go to Yellowstone, and they go to all these things. But she dragged me around when I was still in my 20s, and I got to see some of the national parks we had. And our national park system is ridiculous in this country. I mean, it's unmatched. What we have in the States. And I started to realize that we have Hawaii, we have Alaska, we have Florida, we got deserts, we got mountains, we got the British, we have the U.S. Virgin Islands, we have every type of place, in the world we have, and we have there's no Yellowstone anywhere in the world but Yellowstone. There's no Grand Canyon anywhere in the world except in Arizona. And so when I realized, I was like, well, I guess we do have a lot to see. So maybe we don't need a passport so much in order to adventure things. But anyway,
no, you're right. And I used to think that as well. And even my lad says, I can understand why Americans don't have a passport. Why? Because they've got everything. I mean, you've got mountains, you've got deserts, you've got absolutely whatever you know. I've been watching. I'm a motorcyclist. I've been watching a motorcycle ride. She cut it short because it was in COVID. But she started in South America and she was going to go to Alaska. And I was like, oh, it's absolutely stunning. You know, she started right at the bottom and was working her way up. And I was like, but she was like riding for days in bloody. In some of the countries, and I was like, "This is insane."
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've driven across a few times. I've been able to drive across a few times, and I've been to 46 out of the 50 states at this point, which is a lot. That's a lot, and I'm lucky. And in that time, I've walked through deserts, I've walked through salt marshes, freshwater marshes. I've snorkeled coral beds, and you know, I've been on glaciers, and I've done all kinds of stuff, and it's been like, you know, I've been really, and I've been also in some of the most sophisticated, populous cities in the world. You know, like New York City and Los Angeles are huge. You know, they're crazy.
Yeah.
And I lived in both of them, so it's like, you know. But anyway, back to music.
Back to music. But yeah, it's an amazing place to travel and music. So what got you into music in the first place then, and the genre that you do?
Well, you know, I was a little kid who liked just performing. You know, I honestly, the music that I fall into, it's almost just out of convenience. You know, like I would have fallen into any kind of music that, you know, I think that I got into it just because I like to perform. You know, like if I was around a bunch of other people, I could have been more of a jazz guy, maybe. Or if I was around another group of people and other opportunities came my way, I very possibly would have been more of a Broadway singer, or literally even an opera singer. I had training when I was younger, and I could have ended up anywhere. Not that I was really good at music. It was just that the pull was for the stage. Do you know, like the pull was for an audience.
I got it. Yeah.
So nowadays, when I play, I think the best way to describe what I do musically is I'm in between like folk and Americana and blues and a little, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was one word, it would probably just be called Americana. That would be the easiest thing to describe what I do. But I mean, I play with rock bands. I play with, you know, I sing with house music producers. You know, I do all kinds of stuff. I sing and play guitar and harmonica and mandolin. And right now I lean, like I said, into this Americana thing. Tonight I'm playing at a place in Asbury Park that's called Our Bar. That's what it's called. And Our Bar is kind of put it like this. Monday nights they have a horn band playing there called the Ocean Ocean Avenue Stompers, and it's literally like a New Orleans horn band, like, you know, like you know, and that's the Monday night show. Every night there is you know, a bunch of horns playing, and if you want to catch, you know, any kind of rootsy New Orleans Gulf Coasty kind of thing, that's where you're gonna get it. You're gonna get blues and some country and some blues and folk. And you know, tonight I'm going to play there, and I'm going to put the word out saying, if your banjo or your accordion or your fiddle are bored tonight, come on out and make some noise with me, you know. And that's going to be tonight. I'm going to play a lot of blues from the you know, from Otis, you know, from Howlin' Wolf to Muddy Waters, and I'll do my own songs. I'll play some Bruce Springsteen. I'll play whatever, you know. But that's tonight, you know. I'm going to be going deep into that kind of rootsy stuff. You know, and this weekend I'm playing with an old band I played with. We're doing like a funk kind of show, you know, and also in Asbury, you know, up on the boardwalk, you know, and so it's just a mixed bag all the time. And yeah, that I got into it just because I, you know,
I get it. I think that's why.
You know.
I think that's why I ended up doing what I do. You know what I mean? I do other things, obviously, but I think that's why I started doing a radio show. Started podcasting about 15 years ago, and taught myself to podcast and did audio. And then, but I love talking to people. I can't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm learning to play the drums.
I see that back there.
At 59, I thought, you know what? At 59, why not try and learn the drums? So I've got a great So what I'm saying is, I used to say I can't sing, I can't play an instrument. So do you know what? I'll
No.
do this instead. This will be me. But I know what you mean. There's just something about it. Some people want that, don't they? They want the crowd. They want the
Yeah.
interaction. They want whatever it is. And I like it as well. So I get it from a different point of view than
Yeah.
being a performer. And but I love interviewing people, love chatting to people, love getting to know them and understand what they're about and what makes them tick. And it's really interesting to me anyway. It's good. It's good.
It's good, yeah.
So you're performing? Did you perform a few nights a week then?
Yes, yeah. In the summer, I'm doing 3, 4 nights a week, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. This week I've got about 3, 4 gigs as well. Like tonight, like I said, I'm in Asbury. Last night I was somewhere else. The night before that I was Asbury. And I was actually funny. The other Sunday night I played in the daytime. The Springsteen movie happened, right? And there's a movie theater in Asbury it's like a small theater, and they had the movie playing, the new Springsteen film, and they had musicians opening up for all the showings, which was fun. So I played before the showing, right? I played a set to a sold out little movie theater, great. So then later on, I went down to the street to play my regular Sunday, like last Sunday of the month gig with a buddy of mine. We played 4 to 7 o'clock, or should I say 16 to 21, whatever. That's not right. No. It was whatever, it doesn't matter. 16 to 19. 16 to 19, yeah. And then we did that, and then I went to play with another act afterwards to sit in and play a mandolin with this big loud jamming band at one of the famous clubs in Asbury. It's called the Wonder Bar. And while I was there, who was playing 2 doors down essentially at the Stone Pony literally was our man Bruce Springsteen. Like, he was there playing at a big benefit. So it's like I opened up for his movie.
Wow.
Played a gig, played another gig, and then drove down the street to the Stone Pony afterwards and hung out outside for a little while and listened to him and Steve Van Zandt and all these other people just, doing a bunch of Motown covers, for a little while. It's like, what a world, you know what I'm saying?
That's a pinch yourself moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's that. Wow.
But that happens all the time, like in Asbury, that kind of thing.
That's amazing, isn't it? I suppose it's the same when you go to Nashville and it's a similar sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nashville's the same thing.
Yeah, just all the music people there, all interacting and getting on with stuff, and
it's crazy.
So, what do you think? Do you think that's? Well, I think this. I don't know. I'll probably answer my own question. So, the fact that you travel, you do a lot of traveling. So, I presume that must inspire you in some way with your music, or has done.
Yes. Yeah. I think, I can sit home and I can look at books and watch TV and come up with stories, and I can imagine the stories and they might be fine. But if I'm out in the world, that's where I see more truth and I'm impacted by it more, and I can see it in my mind, when you can't, it's hard to write about a desert unless you've been in one, it's hard to write about the wind unless you felt it on your face, and I feel like if I'm going to try to write stories with characters in it, and those characters are going to be compelling at all, I got to go meet people. I got to have these interactions, and I have to have an adventure. The same thing about food. If I want to talk to someone about food, I got to go eat some.
Yeah.
And I can't go eat it around the corner all the time. I gotta, I gotta try something different.
Yeah, well, same as what you're saying about the South with those characters, those ladies. They've got to get in there somewhere of what are these ladies doing here. And I like your expression with the noisiest plates and the noise. I mean, you probably, I would never have think of that because I'd never been to that place. Do you know what I mean? But because the fact you've been there, you've painted a picture of that place without even within a few words, and that's what music does as well, doesn't it? If you do it right, it drags you to that place and you can imagine it. It's fun, absolutely fun.
I mean, there's always I wrote an original. I wrote this one song years ago, and it wasn't. I can't even say I wrote it, but I came up with a chord progression that became an instrumental in a band that I was playing with many years ago. And I was trying to capture a moment in my mind. And the moment that I was trying to capture was me laying down on a bench. I was laying down on a bench, and I was in London. This is perfect that I'm talking to you for this. there was a little square, and it's not even an important square in London. It's not like, I was in whatever the park there is. What's the big
Well, you've
park
got
there?
Hyde Park, you've got
Yeah,
Trafalgar
yeah, yeah,
Square.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I mean, I wasn't like sitting there going, it wasn't happening there. It was in Russell Square. Okay, Russell Square is just, it might be famous, I don't know, but it was just in the neighborhood where I was staying, and that's just what. And I wrote this instrumental tune, and I brought it to a band, and we put percussion on it and violin and all these other instruments in it, and it became something that I really felt proud of at the time. And all I called it was Sleepy in Russell Square. That was it. And it was literally just this. I tried capturing this moment of laying down on a bench with the clouds going by, and I could do that at home maybe, but that same feeling, and I remembered, I conjured the feeling and the vibe, and that's what it sounded like in my mind. And
Fantastic.
so if you don't have those little moments in the world, then you don't have those moments. You don't have them. And so I have a 10-year-old now, and he has adventures with me now. We go running around, and I take him on trips, and he's into rock climbing. That's his thing. So whenever I can take him somewhere where I can get him up on a rock face on a roof with somebody else taking care of it, then I feel like I've done the right thing. And he's up in the air, with his fingers on the rock, just really just having these moments, so I'm trying to get him to have these things too. I want to have a lifetime of moments that he maybe he even forgets. Who knows? But they're in there shaping him.
Yeah, and doing the outdoor things like that is vital.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it really shapes them, because when our son, who's 23 now, has just done that Three Peaks,
Yeah.
at school they were all going to Disneyland and all the rest of it, and Disneyland is not a place for me and my wife. I don't like all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, so we never took him. But we used to
Hmm.
take him camping and hiking and walking and all the rest of it, and he did
Hmm.
scouts. And now the thing that he loves doing most is outdoors, mounting, like you say,
Yeah.
in the hills.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for him that you get him to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you can't always tell people, can you? They have to live some of the experiences, but take
Yeah.
time, visit places. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Experiences are worth everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the only way, I think, for me, that I can put music together, is I can't just sit in a room and just stay in the room and make it up like that. I gotta go out and feel it and touch it and vibe on it. It has to breathe in me. So that's kind of how I see making music, I guess. I don't
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
know.
I couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? I have lots of thoughts and
Yeah.
ideas in a different way, but
Yeah, I guess.
it always fascinates me where people like yourself can then take something, an experience or something that's gone on, and turn it into something. And how the
Right.
hell do you put this skill in it?
Who
Either a
knows?
natural skill or a learned skill. And I suppose you build up as you go along. And I have wacky ideas, but I couldn't sit down and write. Right, I probably could, but I couldn't sit down and write a song. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't know where to
Right,
start.
yeah, yeah.
It's weird. It's fascinating to me how people have different people doing different things, have different skills, and they can just,
Yeah.
because you play several instruments, and
Mm.
I find that mind blowing that people can do that.
Yeah.
But to you, it might just be it's normal, you can do it and everything. But
Yeah, no. I understand that. I get that. Yeah.
I find it. I mean, I've been like I say, trying to learn the drums, and I've been doing it since March, and I'm just about getting to the point. I've been doing a drill for months, and I went last week and went, "It's the best you've played it. Right, we can now move to the next page." That's after months. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
Congratulations. That's perfect.
do you know what I mean? But it's and the physical thing of doing it, I think it's great, and I'm really sure. I mean, it's great. But for you to do the mandolin and all the other instruments,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Really amazing.
Right. Well, I'm lucky. I mean, I've been getting away with it for a while, so it's
You've not been found out yet. You've not got imposter syndrome, have you?
sometimes you do. I've had it a few times. I've had it a couple times. I've had incidents where I felt, gosh, I got brought on a stage once years ago, and I was brought on stage by a guy, and it was a late night invite jam session show, that I wasn't supposed to get on stage. The organizers told me I wasn't allowed, but the guy whose show it was, he said he wanted me to come up on stage. I was like, well, so and so said so, so I'm doing it. And the organizers were a little pissed about it when it happened, but I remember I got on stage, and the people that I got on stage with, it was just a line of like just all-star people that I knew all of them, and I like owned a bunch of their albums, and it was just this one musician who was an instrumental guy, invited me to play harmonica. I'd played with him on his shows before, and I got on stage, and there was a particular keyboard player. I'm not going to say who the keyboard player was, but this particular keyboard player that I was an insane fan of. Like, I had all this guy's work. I'd seen him play a bunch, and he was a very intense guy, and he had this intense look on his face. And I got on the stage, and everyone was worth me feeling like I didn't belong, but I got up there, and it was my turn to take a harmonica solo over this one song, and all the instruments died down, and all I could hear was like just a rim shot of the drums, like boom, and I could hear the organ laying down the soft pad, and I look over at the keyboard player, and he's like looking dead at me with his crazy eyes, and I was like, oh, and I was like, this is my hero. Like, this is one of my heroes. And I just sort of like, oh, I can't. Oh, yeah. And I could feel myself start to go like, oh, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Oh, no. This is, oh. So I guess in my hand, and I literally turned away so I couldn't see him. Like, I'm on stage in front of my eyes. I turn away from the guy, like away, and I like face away. And I start playing this harmonica solo, and I was so in my head, like. It was, and what was really sad about it, and it was perfectly disastrous, because there's one particular song. It was like the last song of the night. It was like the last solo of the night, and it was like I was the nobody guy that nobody knew in the audience. And this was like a moment where I'm like, I'm getting discovered tonight. This is going to be it. And I get on stage, and I think I dropped the ball so badly. I felt like I looked like the whole room just deflated in front of me, because a microphone gets handed to me from off stage. I walk on stage. Everyone's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy? What's he gonna do?" Like, we've had this horn player, that guitar player, this keyboard player, this banjo player, this guy, that guy, and all these people. And it was just this row of famous ass people, and like, who's the nobody? And I was like, oh, this is we're discovering someone new. And I got on stage, and I played the worst harmonica solo I could have possibly played, and the whole room deflated. And I was like, oh gosh. And it was. But what was important about that, I mean, it was that I did not get discovered that night, very specifically. And I learned that at that time I wasn't ready. I overshot myself. I wasn't ready to do it. I was overconfident, and I pushed it, and I wasn't ready to stand with all those players. In a different setting it would have been okay, but in that setting I was like, I was an imposter. I got up there with nothing.
I was having heart palpitations when he was explaining that, because I know how I'd have felt. But I also, you're right. I think but good for you for having the confidence to go and stand up there. But I think you see a lot of younger bands, or some bands that are progressing, and they expect to go from doing virtually nothing to playing a big stage like the O2 or some big Hollywood Bowl or whatever you want to say. But you can't. You've got to go through the steps, haven't you? You've got to go through those steps. You've got to die on stage. You've got to have your harmonica moments, haven't you? Everyone's got to have the harmonica moments. Oh my God! But I could just imagine. No, it's like terrible.
Well, no, years later, what's funny is I somehow ended up finding out that this one sound guy friend of mine, who I didn't know, was the sound guy on that night. I had no idea. And I'm like, you were the guy that did that? He goes, yeah. I'm like, I was the guy that dropped the ball. He's like, what are you talking about? And lucky for me, he didn't remember it like that. He was the sound guy. So he's like, I still think that everyone deflated watching me, but he's like, I remember you sounded great. I'm like, I appreciate you saying that, but
Yeah,
anyway.
and I bet to be fair, you probably made a bigger thing of it than the people on the stage.
Well, I definitely had imposter syndrome. It was definitely like, I don't belong with these guys. These guys are heavy guns, and I don't belong here. But since then, I've gotten more serious about some things, and I feel very confident what I can do you know, I'm also an older guy now, and I'm, you know, I know what I can do and what I can't do, and I can play with anybody. I just I just don't think I would be intimidated like that. You know, like
Yeah.
I've been around this long enough, and I've met so many of the bigger name people, and I've been, you know, I've gotten to do all that stuff that I don't get starstruck very much anyway, but I wouldn't get starstruck now. I don't think, you know,
No,
I
not
feel like
yeah.
we're all colleagues, you know, in a way. So it'd be like that, you know,
We
at this
we
point.
no one should really, don't know. We used to have one of the presenters, and he was doing a reggae show, and he was interviewing some quite big his idols, you know what I mean, big names, and this
Yeah,
that and the other. I'm panicking. I says, you're just talking to a person. You're an interviewer,
yeah,
and they're coming on your show. Just talk to them like you normally talk.
yeah.
Just don't. Yeah, but this, you won't mess it up. Just have a conversation. He was ultra knowledgeable about the individual, everything he did. So just rock with it.
Mm.
Just own it. You're fine. And I think you need a bit of confidence as well. But thanks for sharing that story with us. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant story. That. It's great. So you've what time is it where you are now? Are you about 7 hours behind us? Are you something like that? It's
No,
eight,
not even. No, it's
five.
4:30 right now. Just
Oh,
about
okay.
4:30.
All right. Well, just
I'm
about
4 hours behind you right now.
4 hours. Oh, so not so bad. So what time's your gig tonight then? About
Well, I'm gonna have to leave soon for it. My gig tonight is at 6. It's 6 until 9 o'clock in Asbury.
we'll wrap
So
up. We'll wrap up soon, haven't we?
we'll wrap
I
up in a
could chat
moment.
with.
Yeah.
So
And
how did you get to do the gig with Sam then? I can never say his name. Scradell. It's honestly, I had to get him to say it several times when he came on.
I since you're bringing it up, I'm not gonna try. You know, I
Don't,
thought I knew, but I'm gonna say it.
don't. I can't say it.
Sam, I'm not doing it. I'm not saying it. So Sam and I we played together out on a boat on a cruise in Italy, Spain, and France last April.
Ah.
He was part of a contest, and it was put on by an Italian company called it was called Cover Me, and he submitted a version of a Springsteen song, and they said you win, come on the boat and play for us. And so
That's
you know
right, because when I interviewed him, I said, "What's this about the North Yorkshire's answer to Bruce Springsteen?" And he went, "Oh yeah." So I see the link now. I've got the link now.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I was over there because I'm, you know, an Asbury Park, Jersey Shore musician guy who does all that stuff and is part of that scene. And, you know, so I played a few different
Ah.
Springsteen related events over in Europe over the
Oh,
years. I played, you know, I played like a festival in Italy. I played a festival in Norway, and now I did this thing, you know, in what's it called in Italy, Spain, and France on the cruise ship, you know, and I played a bunch of shows because of that around other places as well. But that's then how Sam and I got together.
Oh, that's
We
brilliant.
the first day on the boat, we were staying in the same hotel, so we rode from the hotel to the boat together, and we were jibber jabbering and having a laugh. And then we got on the boat, we did all that together, and then we were the part of the first music on for the event. We were both playing the show together the first night. Like either I was playing or he was playing, and it was going to be like my set and then his set, or the other way around. And the sound guys were trying to figure out the sound issues, and they were having some problems. And they said to us, they're like, any chance you guys think you could just like be on stage together and like go back and forth? And I said, how about Sam and I just play our set together, like together as a duo? And they were like, really? I'm like, yeah, let's just go for it. And I said, Sam, you ready to do that? Can we just play each other's songs? Like, and he's like, all right, mate. You know, and I was like, all right, let's just go. So we literally just met that day. We had a quick conversation. We just we played this one set. I mean, it was like a week's worth of shows, but like the first night on the boat, everyone came to see the two of us, and we just decided just to combine our set together.
Brilliant.
And just play on each other's songs and just go for it, and everyone liked it. So
I love that.
It was fun.
That's fantastic. What I'll do, because I've got some new music from Bandcamp that was coming. I didn't want to play it on there because if I play it on YouTube, it'll get picked up and what have you. But
I got you.
But I will drop it in the in the notes on there, and people can come.
Excellent.
So where's the best place for people to find you if they want to know a bit more about you? Because obviously you're in the States, we're over here.
Well, I am on social media, on Instagram. You can find me as James Dalton Jr., James Dalton Jr. And that gets you all the different stuff about me there. I've got links to my Bandcamp page, links to some other bands I play with. that gets you dialed in pretty good right now.
Yeah,
That's the best place to go.
I'll drop that in. You've been absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic, and I love what you're about. I love your energy. I love your stuff. I think you there's a lot of stories in there that we could eke out of you if
plenty of time.
You know what I mean? If round the put.
Call me back. We'll do this again. How do you say that?
Definitely do it again. But all I'll say is enjoy your Greggs when you land in London.
I can't wait. I'm ready. Be Greg's for 3 meals a day for 2 days. I'll be like, let's do this.
Well, I'm following. I'm on Insta. I forget what it's called. Ghost Hunter, I think he started off. Okay. He started going around and he's trying all the foods. He's actually moved to the UK now, but I'm having a Greggs and I've got to have this and I've got to have a sausage roll. I've got to have a steak bake and I've got to try this. Fantastic. I think it's mad because we all know about it, just like fast food type of thing. But it's
so good though.
Excellent. Well, you have a good set. You have a good set tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Keep up with Janice or whoever's contact you through Janice, and if there's anything you want to chat, if you want to come on again, and say hello to Sam when you see him.
I will.
And have an absolute blast.
Thanks for having me. I hope you have a lovely evening and stay out of trouble. Good luck on the drums. Keep at it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Take care, man. Cheers.